What's up, fam? All right, we're here live for AMD earnings. A lot of people ask me to do that. If you guys want to join the Discord, I put the link and pinned it. It's right there. Look. It's hard to say if you should get Uber before earnings. I would think Uber's pretty strong, but you got to be careful. Yeah, data center revenue missed slightly, but they absolutely crushed client revenue. So there's that. SoundHound is fine. Long-term hold. Yeah, they missed 100 million or 200 million on data, but they were almost 400 million on client revenue. So, you know. Juan Arias, yep, the $90 leaps. I've already printed 80%. I already have two 5090s on the way, yes. Kendall, it's plenty. Absolutely plenty. You can make about 30, 40K a month. Oh, okay. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, AMD GPUs are amazing. They definitely are. Well, I got a 5950 in this computer, Intel 13900 KS Raptor Lake in this computer, and the computer across the room has a 7950 3D. I've used them all. I got a RTX 4080, RTX 4090. The one across the room's got an RTX 3090, and I have two 5090s coming. I build like 10 to 15 PCs a year, so very, very well. Very, very well knowledgeable, like in building computers and like up to date on these things. Pizza Boy, stop posting that or I'm gonna time you out. You can't come in my live stream and start egging people on in a negative fashion, okay? Yeah, I got a couple of 5090s on the way. I ordered. They shipped. Or pre-shipment. I got a tracking number, but I don't know when they'll arrive. I have to check. I don't need to draw lines. I don't draw lines unless I'm actually drawing them. Straight lines mean nothing. I don't use them. If I can make $4 million without lines, you can too. You know, it's not, doesn't matter. Yeah, definitely Kevin built one for sure. Had an ugly month. Nvidia, AMD, Google, Palantir. Been the shining star, but unfortunately smaller position. Yeah, you should never be in Nvidia, AMD, and Google at the same time. It's already bad news. Not good. Yeah, I don't like people coming in here and like just saying like, oh, the price is going to drop and trying to FOMO everybody in and out. I'm a noob. You see right there, you're already spreading in like false information and hate. I'm not giving advice, I'm giving guidance, but you're in a timeout now for 24 hours. Bye-bye. Noob. A noob that made $4 million in 5 years. And I've got students that are making tens and tens of thousands of dollars monthly with my trades. Just because you're in AMD in a losing position and you're in here trying to blame me for that position, that's not going to work, my guy. Negativity, please exit. Oh yeah, Brian, there's a lot of silly people. They lose money, so they want to come in here and blame someone and panic. It doesn't matter. Appreciate that, Elon. JP, that's very well said. Very well said. The problem is most people don't understand what they're doing in the market. They're just buying hype and buying stocks, and when they go down, they panic, they start freaking out. I teach people how to make money. I have 110 puts. Like, this stock has to drop $4 more for my put to even be in the money. So if I have to roll it out, I'll just roll it out. It's not a big deal. AMD will run this year. It will. They just beat earnings. I mean, like, it is what it is. Oh, I'm not egoing the chat at all. I'm just speaking facts. Appreciate that. AMD will be good this year. I'm not sure. I'd have to check it out. SMC, I'd have to check. Probably. This is probably a shakeout for sure. They beat earnings, so.
HPC adoption also grew in the quarter. AMD now powers 5 of the 10 fastest and 15 of the 25 most energy efficient systems in the world on the latest top 500 supercomputer list. Notably, the El Capitan system at Lawrence Livermore National Labs debuted as the world's fastest supercomputer.
Is that better, fam?
Using over 44,000 MI300A APUs to deliver more than 1.7 exaflops of compute performance.
It was some form of copyright thing. I had to refresh everything. It's bugging out, but we're good.
Launched the Hunter supercomputer that also uses MI300A. Like El Capitan, Hunter will be used for both foundational scientific research and advanced AI projects, including training LLMs in 24 different European languages. On the AI software front, we made significant progress across all layers of the ROCm stack in 2024. Our strategy is to establish AMD ROCm as the industry's leading open software stack for AI, providing developers with greater choice and accelerating the pace of industry innovation. More than 1 million models on Hugging Face now run out of the box on AMD, and our platforms are supported in the leading frameworks like PyTorch and JAX, serving solutions like VLLM, and compilers like OpenAI Triton. We have also successfully ramped large-scale production deployments with numerous customers using ROCm, including our lead hyperscale partners. We ended the year with the release of ROCm 6.3 that included multiple performance optimizations, including support for the latest flash attention algorithm that runs up to 3 times faster than prior versions, and SGLang runtime that enabled day zero support for state-of-the-art models like DeepSeek V3. As a result of these latest enhancements, MI300X inferencing performance has increased 2.7 times since launch. Looking forward, we're continuing to accelerate our software investments to improve the out-of-the-box experience for a growing number of customers adopting Instinct to power their diverse AI workloads. For example, in January, we began delivering bi-weekly container releases that provide more frequent performance and feature updates in ready-to-deploy packages, and we continue adding resources dedicated to the open source community that enable us to build, test, and launch new software enhancements at a faster pace. On the product front, we began volume production of MI325X in the fourth quarter. The production ramp is progressing very well to support new customer wins. MI325 is well positioned in market, delivering significant performance and TCO advantages compared to competitive offerings. We have also made significant progress with the number of customers adopting AMD Instinct. For example, we recently closed several large wins with MI300 and MI325 at Lighthouse AI customers that are deploying Instinct at scale across both their inferencing and training production environments for the first time. Looking ahead, our next generation MI350 series featuring our CDNA 4 architecture is looking very strong. CDNA 4 will deliver the biggest generational leap in AI performance in our history, with a 35x increase in AI compute performance compared to CDNA 3. The silicon has come up really well. We were running large-scale LLMs within 24 hours of receiving first silicon, and validation work is progressing ahead of schedule. The customer feedback on MI350 series has been strong, driving deeper and broader customer engagements with both existing and net new hyperscale customers in preparation for at-scale MI350 deployments. Based on early silicon progress and the strong customer interest in the MI350 series, we now plan to sample lead customers this quarter and are on track to accelerate production shipments to mid-year. As we look forward into our multi-year AMD Instinct roadmap, I'm excited to share that MI400 series development is also progressing very well. The CDNA Next architecture takes another major leap, enabling powerful rack-scale solutions that tightly integrate networking, CPU, and GPU capabilities at the silicon level to support Instinct solutions at data center scale. We designed CDNA Next to deliver leadership AI and HPC flops while expanding our memory capacity and bandwidth advantages and supporting an open ecosystem of scale-up and scale-out networking products. We are seeing strong customer interest in the MI400 series for large-scale training and inference deployments and remain on track to launch in 2026. Turning to our acquisition of ZT Systems, we passed key milestones in the quarter and received unconditional regulatory approvals in multiple jurisdictions, including Japan, Singapore, and Taiwan. Cloud and OEM customer response to the acquisition has been very positive, as ZT's systems expertise can accelerate time to market for future Instinct accelerator platforms. We have also received significant interest in ZT's manufacturing business. We expect to successfully divest ZT's industry-leading US-based data center infrastructure production capabilities shortly after we close the acquisition, which remains on track for the first half of the year. Turning to our client segment, revenue increased 58% year over year to a record $2.3 billion. We gained client revenue share for the fourth straight quarter, driven by significantly higher demand for both Ryzen desktop and mobile processors. We had record desktop channel sellout in the fourth quarter in multiple regions, as Ryzen dominated the best-selling CPU lists at many retailers globally, exceeding 70%
Bingo, true.
share at
Bingo.
Amazon, Newegg,
I didn't block you, Pizza Boy. I just
and
timed out a
numerous
message.
others over the holiday period. In mobile, we believe we had a record OEM PC sell-through share in the fourth quarter as Ryzen AI 300 series notebooks ramped. In addition to growing share with our existing PC partners, we were very excited to announce
Not sure if you guys understand some of the things she's saying, but a lot of things she said are very strong.
Portfolio of commercial PCs powered by Ryzen Pro processors. The initial wave of Ryzen-powered Dell commercial notebooks is planned to launch this spring, with the full portfolio ramping in the second half of the year as we focus on growing commercial PC share. At CES, we expanded our Ryzen portfolio with the launch of 22 new mobile processors that deliver leadership compute, graphics, and AI capabilities. Our Ryzen processor portfolio has never been stronger, with leadership compute performance across the stack. For AI PCs, we are the only provider that offers a complete portfolio of CPUs, enabling Windows Copilot Plus experiences on premium ultra-thin, commercial, gaming, and mainstream notebooks. Looking into 2025,
a lot of things she said are very, very strong.
Single-digit percentage year on year. Based on the breadth of our leadership client CPU portfolio and strong design win momentum, we believe we can grow client segment revenue well ahead of the market. Now turning to our gaming segment, revenue declined 59% year over year to $563 million. Semi-custom sales declined as expected as Microsoft and Sony focused on reducing channel inventory. Overall, this console generation has been very strong, highlighted by cumulative unit shipments surpassing 100 million in the fourth quarter. Looking forward, we believe channel inventories have now normalized, and semi-custom sales will return to more historical patterns in 2025. In gaming graphics, revenue declined year over year as we accelerated channel sellout in preparation for the launch of our next-gen Radeon 9000 series GPUs. Our focus with this generation is to address the highest volume portion of the enthusiast gaming market with our new RDNA 4 architecture. RDNA 4 delivers significantly better ray tracing performance and adds support for AI-powered upscaling technology that will bring high-quality 4K gaming to mainstream players when the first Radeon 9070 series GPUs go on sale in early March. Now turning to our embedded segment, fourth quarter revenue decreased 13% year over year to $923 million. The demand environment remains mixed, with the overall market recovering slower than expected as strength in aerospace and defense and test and emulation is offset by softness in the industrial and communication markets. We continued expanding our adaptive computing portfolio in the quarter with differentiated solutions for key markets. We launched our Versal RF series with industry-leading compute performance for aerospace and defense markets, introduced our Versal Premium Series Gen 2 as the industry's first adaptive compute devices supporting CXL 3.1 and PCI Gen 6, and began shipping our next-gen Alveo card with leadership performance for ultra-low latency trading. We believe we gained adaptive computing share in 2024 and are well positioned for ongoing share gains based on our design win momentum. We closed a record $14 billion of design wins in 2024, up more than 25% year over year, as customer adoption of our industry-leading adaptive computing platforms expands and we won large new embedded processor designs. In summary, we ended 2024 with significant momentum, delivering record quarterly and full-year revenue. EPYC and Ryzen processor share gains grew throughout the year, and we are well positioned to continue outgrowing the market based on having the strongest CPU portfolio in our history. We established our multi-billion-dollar data center AI business and accelerated both our Instinct hardware and ROCm software roadmaps. For 2025, we expect the demand environment to strengthen across all of our businesses, driving strong growth in our data center and client businesses and modest increases in our gaming and embedded businesses. Against this backdrop, we believe we can deliver strong double-digit % revenue and EPS growth year over year. Looking further ahead, the recent announcements of significant AI infrastructure investments like Stargate and latest model breakthroughs from DeepSeek and the Allen Institute highlight the incredibly rapid pace of AI innovation across every layer of the stack, from silicon to algorithms to models, systems, and applications. These are exactly the types of advances we want to see as the industry invests in increased compute capacity while pushing the envelope on software innovation to make AI more accessible and enable breakthrough generative and agentic AI experiences that can run on virtually every digital device. All of these initiatives require massive amounts of new compute and create unprecedented growth opportunities for AMD across our businesses. AMD is the only provider with the breadth of products and software expertise needed to power AI from end to end across data center, edge, and client devices. We have made outstanding progress building the foundational product, technology, and customer relationships needed to capture a meaningful portion of this market, and we believe this places AMD on a steep long-term growth trajectory led by the rapid scaling of our data center AI franchise from more than $5 billion of revenue in 2024 to tens of billions of dollars of annual revenue over the coming years. Now I'd like to turn the call over to Gene to provide some additional color on our fourth quarter
This
and
is
full year results.
pretty much what I
Gene?
expected. Yeah. I mean, they're bouncing off 110 solid, and everything she said was really
I'll start
good.
with a review for our financial results and then provide our current outlook for the first quarter of fiscal 2025. AMD executed very well in 2024, delivering record revenue of $25.8 billion, up 14%, driven by 94% growth in our data center segment and 52% growth in our client segment, which more than offset headwinds in our gaming and embedded segments. We expanded gross margin by 300 basis points and achieved earnings per share growth of 25% while investing aggressively in AI to fuel our future growth. For the fourth quarter of 2024, revenue was a record $7.7 billion, growing 24% year-over-year, as strong revenue growth in the data center and the client segment was partially offset by lower revenue in our gaming and embedded segments. Revenue was up 12% sequentially, primarily driven by the growth of client, data center, and the gaming segments. Gross margin was 54%, up 330 basis points year-over-year due to a favorable shift in revenue mix with higher data center and client revenues, lower gaming revenue, partially offset by the impact of lower embedded revenues. Operating expenses were $2.1 billion, an increase of 23% year-over-year, as we invested in R&D and marketing activities to address our significant growth opportunities. Operating income was a record of $2 billion, representing 26% operating margin. Taxes, interest, and other was $249 million net expense. For the fourth quarter of 2024, diluted earnings per share was $1.09, an increase of 42% year-over-year, reflecting the significant operating leverage of our business model. Now turning to our reportable segment. Starting with the data center segment, revenue was a record of $3.9 billion, up 69% year-over-year, driven by strong growth of both AMD Instinct GPU and the fourth and the fifth generation AMD EPYC CPU sales. Data center segment operating income was $1.2 billion, or 30% of revenue, compared to $666 million, or 29% a year ago. Client segment revenue was a record of $2.3 billion, up 58% year-over-year, driven by strong demand for AMD Ryzen processors. Client segment operating income was $446 million, or 19% of revenue, compared to operating income of $55 million, or 4% of revenue a year ago, driven primarily by operating leverage from higher revenue. Gaming segment revenue was $563 million, down 59% year-over-year, primarily due to a decrease in semi-custom revenue. Gaming segment operating income was $50 million, or 9% of revenue, compared to $224 million, or 16% a year ago. Embedded segment revenue was $923 million, down 13% year-over-year, as end market demand continues to be mixed. Embedded segment operating income was $362 million, or 39% of revenue, compared to $461 million, or 44% a year ago. Turning to the balance sheet and cash flow. During the quarter, we generated $1.3 billion in cash from operations and a record $1.1 billion for free cash flow. Inventory increases sequentially by $360 million to $5.7 billion. At the end of the quarter, cash equivalent, and short-term investment were $5.1 billion. In the fourth quarter, we repurchased 1.8 million shares and returned $256 million to shareholders. For the year, we repurchased 5.9 million shares and returned $862 million to shareholders. We have $4.7 billion remaining in our share repurchase authorization. Before I turn to our financial outlook, let me cover our financial segment reporting. Beginning with our first quarter fiscal year 2025 financial statement disclosures, we plan to combine the client and the gaming segment into one single reportable segment to align with how we manage the business. Therefore, reporting three segments: data center, client with gaming, and embedded. We'll continue to provide distinct revenue disclosures for our data center, client, gaming, and embedded businesses, consistent with our current reporting. Now turning to our first quarter of 2025 outlook. We expect revenue to be approximately $7.1 billion, plus or minus $300 million, up 30% year-over-year, driven by strong growth in our data center and the client businesses, more than offsetting a significant decline in our gaming business and a modest decline in our embedded business. We expect revenue to be down sequentially approximately 7%, driven primarily by seasonality across our businesses. In addition, we expect first quarter non-GAAP gross margin to be approximately 54%, non-GAAP operating expenses to be approximately $2.1 billion, non-GAAP other net income to be $24 million, non-GAAP effective tax rate to be 13%, and the diluted share count is expected to be approximately 1.64 billion shares. In closing, 2024 was a strong year for AMD, demonstrating our disciplined execution to deliver revenue growth and expand earnings at a faster rate than revenue, all while investing in AI and innovation to fuel long-term growth. Looking ahead, we will build on the momentum to drive double-digit percentage revenue growth and further accelerate earnings in 2025 and beyond. With that, I'll turn it back to Matt for the Q&A session.
Thank you very much, Jean. We're now ready to start the Q&A session. As the operator polls for questions, we remind each participant to please ask one question and a brief follow-up. Operator, please poll for questions. Thanks.
Thank you, Matt. We will now be conducting a question-and-answer session. If you would like to ask a question, please press star one on your telephone keypad. A confirmation tone will indicate that your line is in the queue. You may press star two to remove yourself from the queue. For participants using speaker equipment, it may be necessary to pick up your handset before pressing the star keys. And as a reminder, like Matt said, please limit yourself to one question and one follow-up. Thank you. One moment while we poll for questions. And the first question comes from the line of Aaron Rakers with Wells Fargo. Please proceed.
Yeah, thanks for taking the question. I guess I'll just ask it right out of the gate. As we think about the GPU business, and I can appreciate you talked about, delivering north of $5 billion of revenue, which is extremely impressive in 2024. I'm curious how we should think about framing the GPU, the Instinct business as we think about 2025, and any kind of color you can provide us as far as kind of the progression of revenue, the pace of revenue first half versus second half as we think about some of the product cycle dynamics. Thank you.
Sure, Aaron. Thanks for the question. So first of all, look, we were very pleased with how we finished 2024 in terms of the data center GPU business. I think the ramp was steep as we went throughout the year, and the team executed well. Going into 2025, as I mentioned in the prepared remarks, we're actually very happy with the progress that we're making on both the hardware roadmaps and the software roadmaps. So on the hardware side, we launched 325 at the end of the fourth quarter, started shipments then. We have new designs that have come on both 300 and 325 that will deploy in the first half of the year. And then the big news is on the 350 series. So we had previously stated that we thought we would launch that in the second half of the year. And frankly, that bring up has come up better than we expected, and there's very strong customer demand for that. So we are actually going to pull that production ramp into the middle of the year, which improves our relative competitiveness. So as it relates to how data center, so the overall data center business will grow strong double digits. Certainly both the server product line as well as the data center GPU product line will grow strong double digits. And from the shape of the revenue, you would expect that the second half would be stronger than the first half, just given 350 will be a catalyst for the data center GPU business. But overall, I think we're very pleased with the trajectory of the data center business in both 2024 and then going into full year 2025.
Yeah, thank you very much. And as a quick follow-up, just thinking about the guidance overall relative to that down 7% sequential, I know you mentioned seasonality across the business segments. Are you assuming that you're down sequentially in data center in total in 1Q, and how do I frame that relative to seasonality? Thank you.
Yeah, sure, Aaron. So let me give you some more color on the Q1 guide. So Q1 guide was down 7% sequentially, as Jean mentioned. And the way that breaks out in each of the segments, assume that data center would be down just about that average, so the corporate average. We would expect the client business and the embedded business to be down more than that, just given where seasonality is for those businesses. And then we would expect gaming business will be down a little less than that. And that's a little atypical from a seasonality standpoint, but we're coming off of a year when there was a lot of, let's call it, inventory normalization. And now that inventory has normalized, we would expect that that would be down a little bit less than the corporate average.
And the next question comes from the line of Timothy Arcuri with UBS. Please proceed with your question.
Thanks a lot. I wanted to ask about the server CPU business. Jean, I think you have said in the past that core count is going to grow mid to high teens, and as long as your competitor is not super aggressive on pricing, that your business should grow roughly that much as well. Are you expecting, or are you already seeing them become a little more aggressive on pricing as they attempt to shore up their share? It sounds like they're getting a bit more aggressive on pricing. So, wondering if you still think that the server CPU business can grow in line with that core count of mid to high teens.
Yeah, first, we always assume server CPU is a very competitive market, but we currently have the best lineup of portfolio from not only Turin generation, but Gen 1, and then even Milan. We provide the best TCO for our customers based on the product portfolio. So overall, we are actually quite confident about continue to drive the server CPU business, not only growing from a unit perspective, ASP perspective, and continue to gain share.
Thanks a lot. And then, Jean, can you just give us a sense of where data center GPU came in for December? I'm thinking it's probably in the $2 billion range. And then is it assumed to be down, flat, or up? Would you be willing to give a number for March? Thanks.
Yeah, I think the way to look at our Q4 performance is our data center business overall did really well. It actually is consistent with our expectations. Of course, when we look at the server and the data center GPU, server did better than data center GPU, but overall, it's very consistent with our performance.
Yeah, maybe I'll just add on, Tim, on your question as to what you would expect as we go into 2025.
Most of the things that she's saying and they're saying is good news, though. It's mostly good.
Data center segment will be consistent with the second half of 24, and that's true for both businesses on the server side as well as the data center GPU side.
And the next question comes from the line of Vivek Arya with Bank of America Securities. Please proceed with your question.
Thanks for taking my question. Lisa, a few questions on the data center GPU business. I think last year, AMD was very explicit about setting and beating or meeting expectations. This year, you have not set a specific forecast, and I'm curious what has changed. And then if I go back to your analyst day in December, I think at that time you had set a long-term 60% CAGR. Is it fair to assume that you can grow at that for 25, right, or versus the $5 billion plus that you did last year? So just contrast the 2 years and then whether AMD can grow at that 60% trend line.
Sure. So Vivek, thanks for the question. I think what we look at is certainly for the first year of the data center GPU business, we wanted to give some clear progression as it was going. The business is now at scale, actually now at over $5 billion. And as we go into 2025, I think our guidance will be more at the segment level with some color as to some qualitative color as to what's going on between the two businesses. And relative to your question about long-term growth rates, you're absolutely right. I mean, I believe that the demand for AI compute is strong, and we've talked about a data center accelerator TAM, upwards of $500 billion by the time we get out to 2028. I think all of the recent data points would suggest that there is strong demand out there. Without guiding for a specific number in 2025, one of the comments that we made is, we see this business growing to tens of billions as we go through the next couple of years, and that gives you a view of the confidence that we have in the business, and particularly, our roadmap is getting stronger with each generation, right? So MI300 was a great start. 350 series is stronger and addresses a broader set of workloads, including both inference as well as training. And then as we get into MI400 series, we see significant traction and excitement around what we can do there with rack scale designs and just the innovation that's going on there. So yeah, we're bullish on the long term, and we'll certainly give you progress as we go through each quarter in 2025.
Thank you, Lisa. And for my follow-up, I would love your perspective on the news from DeepSeek recently, right? And there are kind of two parts to that. One is, once you heard the news, do you think that should make us more confident or more conservative about the semiconductor opportunity going forward? Like, is there something so disruptive in what they have done that reduces the overall market opportunity? And then within that, have your views about GPU versus ASIC, how that share develops over the next few years, have those evolved in any way at all? Thank you.
Yeah, great. Thanks for the question, Vivek. Yeah, I think, it's been a pretty exciting first few weeks of the year. I think the DeepSeek announcements, Allen Institute, as well as, some of the Stargate announcements, talk about just how much, how the rate and pace of innovation that's happening in the AI world. So specifically relative to DeepSeek, look, we think that, innovation on the models and the algorithms is good for AI adoption. The fact that, there are new ways to, bring about, training and inference capabilities with less infrastructure actually is a good thing because it allows us to continue to deploy AI compute in broader application space and more adoption. I think from our standpoint, we also like very much the fact that we're big believers in open source, and from that standpoint, having open source models, looking at the rate and pace of adoption there, I think is pretty amazing, and that is how we expect things to go. So to the overall question of how should we feel about it? I mean, we feel bullish about the overall cycle, and similarly on some of the infrastructure investments that were announced with OpenAI and Stargate, and building out, let's call it, massive infrastructure for next generation AI. I think all of those say that AI is certainly on the very steep part of the curve, and as a result, we should expect a lot more innovation. And then on the ASIC point, let me address that because I think that is also a place where there's a good amount of discussion. I have always been a believer in you need the right compute for the right workload. And so with AI, given the diversity of workloads, large models, medium models, small models, training, inference, when you're talking about broad foundational models or very specific models, you're going to need all types of compute. And that includes CPUs, GPUs, ASICs, and FPGAs. Relative to our, $500 billion plus TAM going out in time, we've always had ASICs as a piece of that. But, my belief is given how much change there is still going on in AI algorithms, that, ASICs will still be the smaller part of that TAM because it is a more, let's call it specific workload optimized, whereas GPUs will enable significant programmability and adjustments to all of these algorithm changes. But when I look at the AMD portfolio, it really is across all of those pieces. So CPUs, GPUs, and we're also involved in a number of ASIC conversations as well as customers want to really have an overall compute partner.
And the next question comes from the line of Joshua Buchalter with TD Cowen. Please proceed with your question.
Hey guys, thanks for taking my question. Obviously, it was good to see MI355X pulled into mid-year, but I wanted to clarify. You said first half 25 data center GPU likely consistent with second half 24, and I was wondering if you could speak to whether or not the shape of the first half changed over the last few months and is potentially related to this pulled-in timeline. It could be a potential air pocket ahead of that launch, or if this was sort of consistent with how you saw things playing out as MI350 and 325X ramped more fully. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for the question, Joshua. No, I would say, from our standpoint, we've gotten incrementally, more positive on the 2025 data center GPU ramp. I think, 350 series, what was in second half always, but pulling it into mid-year is a incremental positive. And from a first half, second half statement, as I mentioned, we have some new important AI design wins that are going to be deployed with 300 and 325 in the first half of the year. But with 350 series, we end up with more content. I mean, it's a more powerful GPU. ASP
There's been a lot of good information here. A lot.
Expect, larger deployments that include training and inference in that time frame. So the shape is similar to what we would have expected before.
Thank you. And believe it or not, I could ask a question on client. Obviously, the growth number in the fourth quarter, was certainly higher than our model.
Like everything that's been said so far has been good.
Across desktop, notebook, and enterprise.
And look, there are going to be some people that say, oh, I should never have listened to Corey on AMD, but did you take my SoFi, my Palantir, my Walmart, my Microsoft, my HIMS, my Honest, my Grab, my New, every stock's run. Just because this hasn't happened yet doesn't mean it ain't going to run.
Our client business
Too much FOMOing, fear, and emotions.
2024, and Q4 was a very strong quarter. There are a couple of reasons for that, so we should go through that. We don't believe there's some substantial inventory buildup. We actually think that what we're seeing is very strong adoption of our new products. So on the desktop side, we saw our highest sellout in many years as we went through the holiday season. Launching our new gaming CPUs. Frankly, they have been constrained in the market, and we've continued shipping very strongly, through the month of January as, we're catching up with some demand there. So desktop business was very strong. And on the notebook side, we also saw a number of our OEM partners launching new AI PCs with, the slew of new mobile partners.
Yeah, there's a lot of negative comments about AMD, but then the moment it runs, all the people that are being negative and emotional about it will be celebrating and acting like they knew it was going to happen all along. That attitude is what causes failure in the market.
Very well into the market. So I think Q4 was strong. I know that there was some commentary about whether there were pull-ins relative to tariffs. We didn't see that in the fourth
Thanks,
quarter.
John.
As I said, we saw strong sellout. Going into the first quarter, we do expect seasonality in there, but the part of our business that is performing better than seasonality is the desktop portion of the business, and the mobile portion of the business is let's call it more typical seasonality. But overall, I think we're very bullish on our prospects to grow client in 2025, just given all of the drivers from product portfolio to some of the
AMD is likely to break 160 this year. There's a lot of analyst buy ratings in the 140 to 160 range.
And the next question comes from the line of Harlan Sur with JP Morgan. Please proceed with your question.
Good afternoon.
It's not cursed, it's shorted. People are just shorting it. There needs to be an abundant amount of buyers to come in and reverse the shorting. It's a belief. After AMD delivers exceptional guidance once or twice or 3 times in a row, buyers will start to come in and overload the short sellers. That's how it happens.
You guys did start to see recovery in enterprise.
It exploded at the beginning. You missed it. Stock jumped like $6. You held and then it went down, and that's what happens.
Go sequentially in Q4, and Lisa, how do you see the share prospects in this segment as you step into 2025?
Yeah, Harlan, thanks for the question. So I think as Gene mentioned earlier, so in the fourth quarter, we did see,
yeah, as soon as people lose money, they want to complain. and they have a very doomsday attitude. It's a very defeated.
Extremely well. We're continuing.
It's an impending doom mentality. It needs to stop, otherwise you'll lose.
As we have, the strength of the Turin portfolio, in addition to Genoa and Milan. And then to your question on enterprise, I do believe we're seeing some strong.
There's also worse stocks out there, so there's that.
There is, frankly, we've invested a lot more in go-to-market.
Got to be realistic. The stock's down $5. $5. It'll be okay.
But as we've invested more resources in it throughout.
There is a lot of way better stocks out there, yeah. But there's also a lot of worse stocks too.
POCs that are now converting into volume deployments, and as we go through into 2025.
119 is decent. Add some at 110.
We have a very strong portfolio across every price point.
Good stuff.
Every core count, every workload. So I think we.
Yep, and those are the picks that I've been preaching for months as well. They're good.
I appreciate that. Networking is a very critical part of the AI infrastructure.
Google's good.
And it's becoming even more important. There seems to be this misconception that AMD is behind the curve here, yet you're keeping pace, kind of leveraging the incumbent Ethernet technology, strong installed ecosystem. You guys are spearheading the alternate Ethernet consortium.
Exactly. 5% is nothing.
Scale up connectivity.
Absolutely.
Continue to drive customer adoption of your overall AI platforms. What's the feedback been like on your AI?
Oh yeah, John, definitely. That's the idea.
Any networking related innovations the team's going to be bringing to the market this year?
Yeah, thanks, Harlan, for that question. No question, networking is an extremely important part of the AI solution, and it's an area that we have been.
It seems like a very strong support between 105 and 110. Like,
partners.
I think
the way to think about it
there's a strong possibility it could go up more tomorrow or even later tonight. I mean, it's just a lot of investors sold off of panic, defeatist mentality, like fear, like.
Of those points, we're increasing the number of proof points. I think people want to see, more clusters of ours. Certainly on inference, we've shown, great performance and, total cost of ownership.
I teach my students in Discord how to take advantage of situations like this. It's not a big deal.
That we are, putting on board, and the important part there is.
It's not a big deal.
We have worked very closely with our partners on Ethernet. We believe that this is the right technology for the future. In addition to third-party networking solutions, we're also with our Pensando team developing our own in-house AI NIC that Forrest mentioned.
I know, right, Alan?
Our Q4 Advancing AI event. And as we look forward, working with our customers, we are actually, standing up, full rack solutions.
I don't know about more volatility, possibly after the fact it could.
The MI400 series.
Very welcome, John.
The net of it is, we believe that, yes, it is absolutely very important. And in addition to, all of the hardware and software work, the system level scaling is super important. And, we are on track to deliver that with our roadmap.
And the next question comes from the line of Blaine Curtis with Jefferies. Please proceed with your question.
Hey, thanks for taking my question. Lisa, I just want to follow up the data center GPU business, obviously very strongly year-over-year.
Damn, Google went down by $17, you see?
Kind of 3/4.
Yikes.
I just want to understand the why, obviously.
And they missed revenue. Oh, Lord. Google's going back to 178, 180.
In terms of when you look at the ASIC storylines, there seems to be a kind of a shift to focus on.
AMD is starting to look pretty strong, I would say.
A lot of your workloads initially were inference. Are you seeing any shift in terms of the demand from your customers between training and inference as well?
That was a pretty ridiculous statement. 24-hour timeout initiated.
Tremendous growth as we built up the data center GPU business throughout 2024. So I think what we're seeing is, we're continuing to.
No, just Oreo. You keep creating multiple accounts and coming in here and fear mongering and griefing. Every time you grief, you get muted, and you're just going to keep creating new accounts and logging into the live stream.
bringing in the MI350 series.
I'm not insecure at all.
Very, very important.
You're not going to come in here and tell people that AMD is going to tank to $90 and offend everybody in here who's already upset that they're losing money, and then you want to come in here and like incite people's feelings and rage. No, this is not a griefing platform. This is not a place for you to come in here and make wild, ridiculous claims to upset people. Okay? You're not using my platform for that. You can go make your own if you want to do it, but not in here. I recommend not creating any more accounts because I'll continue to block them. And it's a lot easier to hit block than it is to create a whole account. So anybody who does that's going to get muted. I'm not insecure. I'm here to help you guys. But I don't want to be listening to someone in here scaring people and upsetting people that are losing money. All right? I'm trying to teach them how to not be scared, not be fearful, and yet people are coming in here intentionally poking the beast. I'm not allowing it. I'm not insecure. What am I insecure about? People coming in here spreading fear to you guys. I'm not insecure. It's everybody else in here that's insecure. I'm trying to help them. Such a weird way to take on that.
Reiterate on the ASIC side.
Someone comes in here and scares everyone, and I block the person scaring everyone, and I'm insecure? No, I'm here to help people that are upset. There's a difference.
Strong part of the AMD, sort of toolbox.
Big difference.
We've done, semi-custom solutions for a long time. We are very.
It happens. It happens. It'll be okay.
Discussions with our customers as well.
No problem. No problem.
They'd like to take our baseline IP and really innovate on top of that. And that's what I think differentiates our capability is that we do have all of the building blocks of CPUs, GPUs, as well as.
It probably won't make it. It might make it to 105, but I don't know. But that's a good buy for sure.
Put the solutions together.
Very welcome. Very welcome.
Hey, operator, I think we have time for 2 more callers, please.
Okay. The next question comes from the line of Stacy Rasgon with Bernstein Research. Please proceed.
Hi, guys. Thanks for taking my questions. I want to ask this a little more explicitly. So you said your server business was up strong double digits sequentially in Q4. My math suggests that could have even meant that the GPU business was down sequentially. And given your guidance for, I guess, flattish GPUs in the first half of 25 versus second half of 24.
Definitely.
Does the math not suggest that you'd be down sequentially?
Yeah, everything's fine. There's a lot of bullish divergence coming up. It's oversold. It's fine.
Yeah, perhaps, Stacy. Maybe let me help give you a little bit of color there. I don't think we said strong double digits. I think we said double digits. So that perhaps is the data. So data center segment was up 9%.
Appreciate it.
Server was a bit more than that. Data center GPU was a little less than that. I think for some of the models that are out there, you might be a little bit light in the Q3 data center GPU number. So there might be some adjustments that need to be done.
Yeah, it's a huge overreaction for sure.
Your suggestion would be incorrect. If you just take the halves, second half 24 to first half 25, let's call it, roughly, flattish.
Remember, AMD also sympathized with Google. If Google would have jumped up, AMD would have done better. That's a fact.
On, just when deployments happen, but that's kind of currently what we see.
Got it. Thanks. And I guess for my follow-up, maybe the follow-on there, do you think your exit rate on GPUs in 25 is higher than your exit rate in 24? Are you willing to commit to that?
Absolutely. Yes, of course. It would be hard to grow strong double digits otherwise, right?
And the final question comes from the line of Toshiya Hari with Goldman Sachs. Please proceed with your question.
Hi, thank you so much for squeezing me in. Lisa, I had a question on the server CPU business. I'm curious how you're thinking about the market this year, and if you can delineate between cloud and enterprise, that would be really helpful. And then kind of part B to that question, in your prepared remarks, you talked about you all having more than 50% share across the major hyperscalers. How would you characterize the competitive intensity at those customers vis-a-vis some of the internal custom silicon that's expected to ramp over the coming quarters and years?
Sure, Toshiya. So let me say, as we look into 2025, I think we see a good server market between cloud and enterprise. I think as we went into sort of the early part of 24, there was a little bit of, let's call it, less investment on the CPU side as people were optimizing investments for AI. We saw that sort of pick up in the second half of the year.
Very welcome, John.
And we would expect that to go into 25. So the enterprise refresh cycles are coming in again, and certainly there are a number of cloud vendors that are now, let's call it, re-updating some of their data centers. And then your second question was as it relates to what was
the competitive
competitive
landscape?
intensity. Sorry.
Yeah, with custom silicon. Yeah.
Yeah. Look, I think it's about the same. What I would say, Toshiya, is it's less about custom silicon versus x86. It's much more about, do you have the right product for the right workload? And look, the server market's always a competitive market. What we've done, and you've seen it in our Zen 4 product line as well as in our Zen 5 product line, we've expanded the design points for each of the core generations so that we have cloud native, and then we have enterprise optimized, low core count, high core count, highest performance, best perf per dollar. And I think as we do those things, I think we are continuing to grow share across both cloud and enterprise. And look, it's always very competitive. We take every design win with very seriously, but we're winning our fair share, and I think that's the strength of the product portfolio. And also, I think there's a good amount.
Look at this guy, Brett. You are hidden forever. Goodbye.
As we've built up our sort of our franchise over the last number of years.
That's great. Thank you. And then as a quick follow-up, maybe one for Gene. So you're guiding gross margin to 54%.
Yeah, the news over the last hour has been weird, and Google did sympathize with AMD. If Google had have crushed the earnings and the news was better in the world right now and there was no tariff talk, none of that stuff, AMD would have done a little better. It would have probably stayed right up around 115, but there's a lot going on. There's a lot of things to account for.
Yeah, thanks for the question. You're right. Our gross margin is primarily driven by our revenue mix. I think when you look into 2025 Q1 guide, not only data center continue to grow significantly year over year, at the same time, client business is also growing year over year. So overall, the revenue mix.
It's already found support on the 5-minute chart
Q4,
and the 15-minute chart. So right now we're in the midst of a reversal, okay?
Revenue mix is at this level.
5, 15, and 30 is about to close in 20 seconds. So we're about, like, by 8 o'clock, at this rate, by 8 o'clock, we will be oversold and reversing. 100 to 105, I'd imagine, would be like insane floor. I just don't, it's hard to say, but I don't think so.
Listened in and participated today, and for your interest in AMD. Thank you very much.
Very welcome.
Ladies and gentlemen, that does conclude today's teleconference. We thank you for your participation. You may disconnect your lines at this time.
All right, so at the end of the day, AMD, nothing's changed. This is also something you have to think about. AMD is a long-term investment. They have a smaller market share than Nvidia, but it's expanding. They were near bankrupt 10 years ago. They've turned it all around. They missed the server market guide, not by much, but they slightly missed it. The slight miss on the server guidance and the fact that Google tanked, well, not really tanked, but dipped pretty badly, on top of the world news going on right now, all played into it and people's overreactions and impatience. We also have short sellers in here, manipulators, people taking profit. It's fine. It's totally fine. Long term, it's a stock heavily involved in tech and AI. It's fine. Amazon's okay, but I've liked Walmart better for the longest time. They're up a lot. When they want to bring their $7 billion or $7 trillion over from the sidelines, they've got to tip the market so they can get in for sure. You know, there's a lot of questions to be had about how the market works, what you should do, how to understand it. It's a very difficult situation. If you guys want to learn how to do all this stuff, the link is there. I teach this, okay? I have students that started out that were green, knew nothing about the market, and were losing money. They've posted in here, and now they're making money. It takes time. I can only teach you, you know, if you're willing to learn and want to learn. Don't FOMO. Do not FOMO. Part of the reason AMD is down is sympathy with Google. Another part is the market condition and the news and the uncertainty. And they also missed on server guidance, which is not that much, but it plays a reason. And short sellers too. Thanks, David. We'll talk to you on the phone tomorrow. I'm in the process of doing that surgery right now. This very much looks like the bottom. Look, it's very simple. Google dropped. It's sympathized. Not to mention, like I said, they missed data center AI very slightly. The overall market is very indecisive. You got short sellers, manipulators, and lots of money on the sidelines trying to come in. All right? It happens. It happens. No, AMD's going to 80. I don't know why you're fear-mongering that. You got to stop doing that. You're going to upset everyone in here. Cheers, random user. It's probably not even going to go to 93. The bottom really is like 100 to 105. Like, I mean, that's like beyond the bottom. Like, I think there's a lot of resistance. It could dip to 105. It could, but doesn't, you know. See you, Steve. After hours, unlikely, probably. Jake M. No, a lot of my students are in here and they're doing very well. It's already reversing. See, the 1 minute, 5 minute, 15, and 30. We're in the process of the 30-minute reversal, oversold. there is a chance it could kind of come back up tonight like this and then tomorrow drop a little bit more into 105 and start to run like that. That's possible. You never know. But in the next 6 months to a year, AMD will be fine. Another earnings call will really help them out as long as they stay on the path that they are right now. The earnings were really good. They just missed slightly on data center. That's it. They beat nicely. Canwell, very welcome, very welcome. It's hard to say with all the manipulation. Yes, data center was up, but they missed on the guidance. It's going to be it's a good company. People are just like being, ridiculous. Yeah, it's fear mongering, People are just going to dump out, buy, there's volatility, and they're worried. A lot of people are panicking. There's a lot of resistance here. Appreciate you, John. Listen, fam, everything will be okay. No, nothing is instant, okay? It's partially due to the market, the news, data center guidance, but they did beat the expectations. They did beat year over year, I mean. The guidance was set high, which is a manipulation tactic. Some people will put out higher expectations or higher predictions, and when they don't meet that, it goes down. But they did beat their year over year, so they beat everything. It happened to Palantir back in June or August in one of their previous summer earnings. I forget which one it was. So it happens. But that's what I teach. That's the whole purpose of the Discord, is to teach you not to fear this and how to do it the right way. All right. This was a good call. So they beat their year over year. They beat the EPS. They beat the revenue. They slightly missed on high expectations on data center. They sympathize with Google. The market's weird. There's short sellers. It's being manipulated. It's being pushed down. It's going to recover. This happened to Palantir before. Yeah, the bar is going to be somewhat low for quarter one, and they'll crush it. They will. They absolutely will. Next earnings will be even better. It's going to be, I believe, in May. Yeah, May 6th. May 6th will probably, like, be a much better earnings. Stock is likely to go higher than it is now. Before then, though. That'd be a long explanation, but they do it. Yeah, AMD is already coming back up again. It's up $1. It's resisting. It's going to resist in this area. Give it time to have buyers come in. All right, give it time. Walmart's great. Look, I'm going to tell you guys, they did year-over-year growth and beat guidance. Things look strong. I'm not an SMC, I know. It's just a panic sell. I don't know if tonight it'll come back up, but tomorrow, the next day, the day after, as time goes on, it'll work its way back up. Almost for sure. Yeah, Uber's done pretty good too. The level of support is where we're at. It's the strongest, between 100 and 105. And it's resisting it heavily. Yeah, it can be tough. A lot of people, FOMO, get upset, stress out, but it is what it is. I'm not going to stress out. Not a chance. I got to stay, I just don't care. I do what I do. And I'm trying to teach people to do that. Yeah, Wayfair should be good. It's hard to say when, but it will. See, that's the thing, is that when AMD was running at the beginning of the call, everybody was like celebratory, and then as soon as it's not doing too well, it's panic, griefing, arguing, insulting. Like, you can't, like, this is why, you make bad moves, then get emotional and make more bad moves. And it just continues over and over until you're out of money. You can't trade like that. You're not going to blame me for making that trade. Nowhere did I tell you to put $65,000 into AMD. You're supposed to keep a certain percentage of your portfolio in a stock. You can't be like that. You can't make bad decisions and then blame other people and grief and argue and insult. It's got to stop. It's just like, you got to get your mindset right. Otherwise, you're going to just keep losing money. Yep, everything's a risk in the stock market. You got to understand that. There's a lot of riskiness investing. Nothing goes up indefinitely, and nothing goes up instantly, and nothing stays there. Listen, I want to explain something to you guys. Listen, I want to explain something to you guys right now. Listen, I truly, from the bottom of my heart, care about you guys. I do. 100%. Why else would I be here? I got a Discord full of students and I'm already a millionaire. I'm here because I care. I don't like seeing you guys lose money. I don't like seeing you guys stressed out. It bothers me. That's why when people come in this chat griefing and blaming, I mute them so that it doesn't upset you. That I'm trying to like help you, trying to make you feel better, and I'm trying to protect you from negative energy. That's what I'm trying to do. You can speak, you know, you can speak your mind. It's a free country, but just don't grief to others in a way that that affects them negatively. That's all. Michael, I wouldn't close them yet. I think it's fine. We're already rejecting on the 30 candle right now, all right? Trey, what's up? I'm glad to hear, buddy. I also said in multiple videos, too, that AMD was good for the year. We're not through the year yet. We just started the year. You've got to understand investing can be long-term, okay? A lot of people that invest are expecting exponential gains immediately. You want exponential gains. You want them now. You got to make money now. You're financially strapped. You need money now. Everything's got to be now. You cannot invest like that. That's not how it works. Definitely not with AMD. Even if AMD went up, my price target today was potentially 121 or 123. You're not going to retire on that, right? So it's not. It's not going to be. You wouldn't have been retiring on AMD either way. I never anywhere said it was going to go like to 200 on earnings or 150. That was never discussed. My lines here show you in the 120 range. We're in the 110 range. $10. So even if it did good, you weren't going to print a ton of money anyway. All right? I'm just speaking real. That's just what it is. Absolutely, Victor. That's a very nice way to look at it. See, it was down in the 112. It's only down $5 after all of this. It'll be fine. Okay, look at the 30-minute. If the 30-minute closes up here, it'll be even stronger. 1 hour and 30 have heavy resistance. 15 minutes is struggling. 5 minutes is good. All right, things are fine. Things are fine. You could DCA the leaps. I mean, I am going to do that without a doubt. It's coming back up. Look at this. The 15-minute, it's coming back up. And the 30 minutes got heavy resistance. Just let it do its thing. I do have an oversold indicator. It's heavily oversold right now. It's heavily oversold. It's the amount of, like, I mean, it's terrible. It's so oversold. It's ridiculous. Like, it's fine. I just wait a little bit longer. I would wait until the 1 hour and the 4 hour have resistance into tomorrow. Okay? That's what I'll wait for. Also, remember, AMD sympathizes with Nvidia. So if Nvidia crushes earnings, AMD will likely go up as well. It's the market, you know? It's just how it is. It doesn't have to make sense because it doesn't make sense. It happens. We have almost, I'll tell you what, here's a strong indicator. In 35 minutes, if this 1 hour candle turns into a green doji, that's very strong. If it stays a red doji and the next hour candle turns green and goes up, it's strong, but not as strong, but it's still good. Right now, things are good. I say as long as AMD stays above 108 and closes above 108, that's very, very good. So that's my price target. Robot toy. When is Nvidia? It's later on this month. Yeah, Google's down too. That's part of the reason. Plus, you got to remember, everyone, Nvidia's not doing too well either. They can't meet their guidance because they're overvalued as well. Part of this is Nvidia. Part of it's Google, part of it's the market, part of it's the interest rates, part of it's missing the server guidance, and part of it is also fear, selling, and shorting. It's not a it's not a good combination, I mean. It's a very bad combination. Appreciate it, Surfer. Definitely. I don't try to, I'm very transparent. Yeah, I didn't trade Google because I didn't trust Google. That's why I didn't mention Google at all on my channel. Because I was not bullish on Google. Not one bit. I really truly believe AMD will be okay. It's just not going to be okay today. That's the thing. It'll be okay long term. Month, 2, 3 months earnings as the economy gets better. Nvidia does good. Google recovers. The sector does better. Things will be fine. All right. No, my call options, I have call options in AMD for July, which means I'm good for the next earnings in May. So I'm fine. I also have puts. I don't have shares. My puts are 110. So I'm only $1 away. I think I'll be fine. Just relax, everyone. Everything will be fine. I teach this in my Discord. We do day trading. We do Microsoft. Like, look, we bought Microsoft here, sold here, and now we're buying down here. All right? Like, look at the profits. My students, like, making thousands of dollars, like, every day. Like, this is what we do. See, you can't make this stuff up. They're all making money. Doesn't matter what the stocks are. 1 month, this guy made 111%. He doubled his portfolio in a month. Like, and this was recently when the stock market was going down. So it doesn't really matter. We make money either way. We're going to make money. If you guys are struggling, then I'd love to help you, but you gotta learn. All right, you're blocked permanently, guy. Don't tell me I'm lying when I'm not. Bye-bye. Go to someone else's channel. I love opening the door and kicking people out that like to come in here and talk nonsense. Hilarious. People from other channels trying to come in here and talk negative about me so they can boost their own algorithm. How about grow your own channel with hard work? I've got 800 students printing money like a printing machine. Can't do that unless you're good. Yeah, it's pretty good, Andy. I would say just give it a little bit. Yep, Lewis, yep. I'm as real as it is, but when people come in here and start saying to go follow someone else that I'm lying, they're advertising someone else while calling me a liar. So it's bye-bye. We will be okay. Appreciate that, Lewis. Yeah, I'm like I said, I'm Catholic. I want to help people out. I'm not out to be a bad guy or upset people. Yeah, we can have different opinions, but don't come in here and advertise someone else's channel and say I'm lying when I'm not. Thanks, Tony. Oh, I'm not lying, Rich, but, I'll time you out for 24 hours since you want to call me a liar when I'm not lying. Goodbye. Freedom of speech is allowed, but don't call me a liar when I'm not lying, and don't spread lies or advertise other people's channels. There's rules to follow. It's a free country, but you can't go out rob a bank, right? There's a sense of understanding what freedom really is. If you don't want to book a call with my team and I to jump into Discord, you could email me, Corey@investwithcorey.com, and I can help you out with a direct way to get in. Oh, it's not the end of the world. I'm not sure who's acting like it's the end of the world, but, if someone comes in to advertise, bye-bye. Pretty easy. By March, I would anticipate way higher than it is now. Predictions are difficult. Yeah, very good for sure. 1 hour is definitely looking good. 30-minute is struggling. 15 is struggling a bit, but good. We're on that 30-minute, all right? We're on that 30-minute. Appreciate it, Rudy. Appreciate it, buddy. Oh, there is no copium lines. I drew those before earnings. Yes, Nick. Everything. Start to finish, there's different classes to take. Yes. Everybody's going to be okay. The stock will be fine. Like, I wouldn't worry about it. We have been through this before, Nitro. Absolutely. Thanks, Lewis. I appreciate that, Alan. Appreciate that, ND. My job is like not to come here and lie. My job's to help you guys. AI data center miss is not good short term, but it'll be fine. Earnings conference is already over. Miko, I kind of agree with that. Appreciate Ariel. Thank you so much. I agree, Lewis. I agree. Yeah, roll your puts from Friday, go out a week or two and come down to like 115. And by the time they expire, you'll probably be pretty close to break even. Appreciate you being here, Peter. Yeah, Alvin, it's not all on AMD. Some is Google, some is the market, some is the little bit of the miss on data center. I'm just looking some stuff up right quick for you guys. Everything looks, in my opinion, strong. It's already up to 109. Oh, there's green candle on the 30-minute. There we go. You can buy after hours. I'm trying to read up on some data on AMD, but I can't imagine. It all looks good. Like, appreciate it, Keanu. Patricio, what's up? Yeah, it's going up. It's going up. I think everything's going to be fine. Okay? I mean, it is going to be fine long term. Short term, it looks like it's already recovering. We're oversold. $107 is a good price. You're already up right now. So, yeah. Yeah, earnings always wild for sure. Always. Whether it's good or bad, it's always nuts. But we got a lot of resistance here. AMD is going to find itself, you know, like in this range. Like it's just going to be bouncing around here. Yeah, there's a respect issue too, but it'll be fine. A lot of things contributed to its downfall today. All right, I'm going to leave you guys. I pinned the link. If you guys decide that you want to jump in the Discord and take, coaching and learn and make money, I teach how to take advantage of situations like this. Emotions and stress won't pay off. They don't. Stock is far from overpriced. I would say it's just about what it's actually worth. Appreciate it, Amelia. Nvidia was actually overpriced. That's why it dropped to 118. So, I appreciate you guys all being here. I wanted to help you guys out, do this live call. I appreciate all of you. Do not panic. Do not stress out. Do not worry. It's already turning around right now. It might drop a little further. It's going to depend on the sentiment. Long term, I'm not really concerned. Whiskey shots will help. You're very welcome, everyone. Don't stress out. If you're having trouble, like I said, I just posted the link. Book a call with me, or you can email me, Corey@investwithcorey.com, and I will help you get into the Discord. It's going up right now. We're pushing 110. All right? It'll be okay. If you want to learn, there's the links. There's the email. Let me help you. We'll see you guys on the next upload. One love for all you guys. Do not stress out. It will be okay. All right? We'll see you guys. Very welcome. Have a great night. Like I said, one love. It'll all be okay. In time. Deuces.